and fictional men, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a January wrap-up. First book in January that I finished. I actually started last year on the 22nd of December, and then I finished it on New Year's Day, so January 1st. And that book is Killjoy by Holly Jackson. Pippa, aka Pip, as everyone calls her, as she goes to a 1920s murder mystery party which is being hosted by one of her friends, and she uses her detective skills to solve the fictional murder of Reginald Remy. However, she learns that fictional cases are not at all like real life crimes, which inspires her to pick the case of Andy Bell as her final major project. I honestly loved it. I gave this book 5 stars and I totally recommend it. The next book, I started it on the 2nd of January and then I finished it the next day. And that book is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. I honestly don't remember anything about this book. Don't panic. Too late. Arthur Dent is already having a really bad day, even before the Earth gets demolished to make way for a new hyperspace express route. After that, things get much worse. With just a towel, a small yellow fish and a book, Arthur has to navigate through a very hostile universe in the company of a gang of unreliable aliens. Luckily, the fish is quite good at languages, and the book is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I, for some reason, thought this was going to be like Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I'm very smart. It's not. I honestly don't like it at all. I gave it 2 stars. 1 was the illustrations are cool. 2, before the story even starts, you get to know how it came to be and see what the characters look like. The 3rd book I read in January, I started it on the 3rd and finished it on the same day, and that is Ophelia and the Marvellous Boy by Karen Foxley, which follows Ophelia as her dad gets a new job at the museum because he is quite knowledgeable about swords. Ophelia, she's also there with her sister Alice. Ophelia discovers a boy who's known as the Marvellous Boy who's trapped in this room, and Ophelia must save him, get him out of the room, and save the museum from Snow Queen, who is also the museum creator. I also recommend this book. I gave it 4 stars. The 4th book that I read in January, I started on the 3rd and I finished on the 4th. The book is 365 Steps of Self-Confidence, a program for personal transformation in just a few minutes a day, by David Lawrence Preston. The blurb is: follow the 52 theme chapters, including exercises, insights, and practical hints on how to overcome your lack of self-esteem and begin to live life to the full now, not tomorrow. Confidence is crucial to a happy and fulfilling life, and yet many of us lack confidence and self-belief. As a result, we are less adventurous and less likely to get the most out of our life. This book is a carefully structured program to help you become more confident. It gives you tools and techniques which have worked for millions of people around the world. Simply work through this book and apply its lessons to gain real and visible benefit. Time and energy devoted to building your confidence and self-esteem are nothing less than an investment in your whole life. David Lawrence Preston is a personal development trainer and seminar presenter who has frequently appeared on radio and television. Over the past 20 years, he has developed a dynamic living program which draws on practical psychology, complementary medicine, and Western and Eastern philosophy. I legit only have 1 thought in this, and it is the book includes quotes. I think that tells you how much I like this book. I gave it 1 star. I started on the 4th and then I finished it 3 days later on the 7th. That book is This Lie Will Kill You by Chelsea Pitcher. I quite like this book, mainly because it reminded me of this show that I really liked, Remind. After awakening in an old European-style room, 11 high school classmates find themselves sitting at a large dining room table, with their feet shackled to the floor. They find that their situation could be related to another classmate called Miho, who had disappeared months before. As they tried to figure out how to escape, some of the girls start disappearing from the table one by one. The girls realise they share a checkered past with Miho, but also suspect that one of them could be behind the trap. I totally recommend it. Anyway, this book reminded me of that show because obviously 5 people are invited to this house and then they get locked in this house because people wanted revenge. I really liked it, even though there was already fixations on female genitalia, but I think there should have been a trigger warning for sexual assault because one of the 5 people that get invited to the party has been sexually assaulted, and obviously that's a sensitive subject for some people and it makes some people like uncomfortable. But other than that, I really liked the book. I still gave it 4 stars though. The 6th book I read in January. I started on the 7th and again I finished it 3 days later, and that book is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. I actually really liked this book. And the blurb is, it's been 18 months since the Baxter School for Girls was put under quarantine. Since the talks hit and pulled Hetty's life out from under her. It started slow. First the captors died one by one, then it began to infect the students, turning their bodies strange. Left to fend for themselves on the island home for girls don't dare wander outside the school's fence, where the tox has made the woods wild and dangerous as it seeps into everything. They wait for the cure they were promised. But when her friend Bryant goes missing, Hetty will do anything to find her, even if it means breaking quarantine and braving the horrors that lie outside. And when she does, Hetty learns that there's more to their story, to the talks and their life at Baxter, than she ever thought possible. Anyway, so if the main character kissed a girl, I believe it was her friend Bryant, so main character's Hetty, and when she kissed her friend, I got really excited. On page 236, I realised the talks is turning the people into plant creatures, which actually makes a lot of sense. Because if you look closely, between the lines is actually plants. I put my predictions of the girls being tested on was right. I gave the book 4 stars. The next book I started on the 10th and I finished it on the 13th. And it's Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix by J.K. Rowling. This is Harry Potter's 5th year at Hogwarts. You are sharing the Dark Lord's thoughts and emotions. The headmaster thinks it's advisable for this to continue. He wishes me to teach you how to close your mind to the Dark Lord. The next book I read in January, I started on the 13th. It didn't take me 3 days to finish. It took me 13. That book is Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. I gave this book 4 stars. This book follows Jane, who has just found out that her sister June has cancer. But due to this mix-up, June, who's the firstborn and the one with cancer, has basically stolen her sister's identity. So, legally, Jane is the one with cancer, but it's actually June. So Jane has just found this out, and the whole book is her dealing with it and spending a lot of time with her sister while also dealing with relationships problem. Jane and June are nothing alike. June's 3 years older, a classic firstborn, no tall knock, and with a problem problematic finance job and an equally soulless apartment, according to Jane. Jane is a emotionally stunted, self-obsessed basket case who lives in squalor, has egregious taste in men, and needs to get to class and stop wasting mum and dad's money, if you ask June. Once thick as thieves, these sisters who moved from Seoul to San Antonio to New York together now don't want anything to do with each other. That is until June gets cancer, and Jane becomes the only one who can help her. Flung together by circumstance, house and woes, and family secrets, will the sisters learn more about each other than they're willing to confront? And what if, while helping June, Jane has to face the fact that maybe she's sick too? First off, this cover is bloody amazing. But if you look, also I realised after I finished this is the egg yolk. Anyway, so there's a girl holding hands, and it continues on the back, and it's Jane and June, and they're holding hands. The cover comes back, and it's the two girls holding hands, and then here it has other titles, which is Emergency Contact and Permanent Record. At the beginning of the book, the author wrote a little note warning for readers that they might find some topics triggering. This is a work of fiction that mirrors aspects of my own history with disordered eating, dysmorphia and bulimia. For those struggling with body image and food, the story might be emotionally expensive for you. Please be gentle with yourself. Sensitivity is a superpower, and please know that there is no such thing as bad body. Truly take up space. It is your birthright. Love, Nay. Which I think is actually so cute, and it's so nice that she basically gave a trigger warning on her book. Jane gets with Patrick, which, oh shit, sorry, spoiler, which is a childhood friend, and then I loved them together. I thought it was so cute. I'm currently on page 176, and I want Patrick and Jane to get together. I don't think they do. And then the book ends with a somewhat cliffhanger. If you know me, you know my biggest pet peeve is cliffhangers. The most recent book that I finished in January, I started on the 26th and I finished it on the same day, and that is the collector's edition of The Sign of 4 by Arthur Conan Doyle, which obviously is part of the set. This is the second book in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and I legit can't remember. The synopsis says, the welcome introduction to Sherlock Holmes' boredom appears to have little to do with crime, but is intriguing enough to stir the great detective. Following the disappearance of her father 10 years earlier, Miss Morstan has received the gift of a valuable pearl, sent annually and anonymously. Now, as she has been summoned to meet her mysterious benefactor, she asks Holmes to escort her. But before the night is out, a baffling murder is discovered. While Watson is left bemused by love, Holmes is aided by Toby, the tracker dog, and the Baker Street irregulars to hunt down the killer and interpret the Sign of 4. I gave it 3 stars. First comment was, Sherlock do be a drug addict though. There's a direct reference to the first book, which is A Study in Scarlet, which I like. I love references. So I have a obsession with Disney's Basil the Great Mouse Detective, which is obviously, Basil is the mouse version of Sherlock. And in the film there's a dog called Toby. And I didn't realise that in Sherlock there's also a dog called Toby. At some point, Toby, the dog, gets called ugly. Well, not spoken, but described as ugly. And I put, don't be mean to Toby. What can I say? I love Toby the dog. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment down below what videos you want me to do. Also, give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and press the subscribe button and the notification bell, so then you get a notification every single time I upload a brand new video. If you want to keep up with me day to day, I also have other social medias which I will put in the description below. I'm mostly on TikTok. Like, I try to post like every other day, and then I post on Instagram every single time I upload a new when I finish a book. So for example, after this one, you will see what book I'm reading next, which maybe it is probably going to be Harry Potter or one of these, because I want to finish I have to finish the series before reading Shadow and Bone, because I really want to watch the show. And I have the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and then I have the Six of Crows duology, and I know there's 2 more books, Rule of Wolves and King of Scars. I don't have it yet, but I really want it. Anyway, I'm gonna go.